Blue Jackets are finally leading the league in something. The only problem is it might not be something that they want to be leading the league in necessarily. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the importance of last night's win over the Senators, and we're also going to be looking at tonight's game against the Washington Capitals and what the Blue Jackets have to do to beat them again. That's all coming up on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Whether you are a first-time listener or a regular listener or a regular watcher, now that we are on YouTube, I appreciate you. Today's episode is brought to you by RockAuto.com. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit RockAuto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. So, last night was fun, right? I had fun. I don't know about anyone else. I love to beat the Sens, especially when the Sens are doing that. Good to see Anton Forsberg again. I feel like this might be the first time that the Blue Jackets have played against him in a while, so super good to see him again. Of course, he went basically unbeaten in the 2015 Calder Cup playoffs on the route to the Lake Erie Monsters, as they were then, raising the Calder Cup. That would have been a tag team of him and Jonas Korpisalo, which feels like it was a long time ago now, but he's now with the Sens. He had a really good game, I thought. But we're going to talk about him in just a minute because Blue Jackets did something last night. They set a franchise record, and I believe they also have set an NHL record for this season. This was their 21st win of the season when the other team scores first, which, I mean, your opinion may vary on what that means. You know, I tend to err on the side of it's a little distressing that the Blue Jackets have got to come from behind so many times. You know, you might also think, hey, they never say die. You know, it's all very Goonies of them, as as a friend reminded me on Twitter last night. So the Senators open the scoring. Tyler Ennis scores, who, you know, if you remember that Tyler Ennis existed, I guess a point for you. Makes it 1-0, but Jack Roslovic makes it 1-1. Just what a pass from Zach Werenski. Zach Werenski might be my MVP of that entire game. The first two goals were all him. Just what a pass to Jack Roslovic. What a pass to Eric Robinson to make it 2-1, like 2.5 minutes into the second period. I have been a little worried about the defense on this team, but Zach Werenski apparently has decided that he can do everything himself. Just two phenomenal plays. He's up to 29 assists on the season, which I still feel like is probably a little quiet for him. He's had to take a step back from the offense. Obviously, you know, being that number one defenseman, he has had to play a little bit more of a defensive role. I don't think he's doing it a ton. You know, he's still very kind of rovery, but you know, as last night proved when he was somehow leading the rush again. Which, I mean, your opinion may vary on how you feel about that, but I think it's neat. Big fan of when Werenski gets to lead the rush, and his two primary assists, honestly, give him first star of the game for me. Great to see Jack Roslovic score. He's been up and playing with Line, obviously, since the Blue Jackets have lost Boone Jenner for the foreseeable future. He has been playing that number one center role, and he's been having fun with it, it seems like. Patrick Laine had 2 assists on the night, both of his goals, and it was good to see Gabriel Carlson get a goal as well. That would have been get an assist, excuse me. That would have been late in the second period, and then the third period was kind of a non-starter. The Senators managed not to allow a goal against an actual goalie, but Sean Corrali scores his 10th of the season, which is a career high for him, which, again, say what you will, but I'm happy for him getting to double digits. Eric Robinson also hit a career high with his eighth of the season earlier in the game. All good things. Elvis Muslikins back to form. He made, I believe, 30 saves on the night. Yep, 30 off 31 saves, and he was really good. He made some incredible saves. But honestly, for me, Anton Forsberg was the star for the Ottawa Senators. He made 36 or 35 of 38 saves, which in any other game would probably be enough to give you the win. But unfortunately, Muslikins was just a little bit better. We're going to talk a little bit more about some team stats and a little bit of I guess injury news, not quite injury news. Good injury news is what it is, really. But first, I want to tell you about Bet Online because it's that time of year again. College basketball tournament is finally upon us. It is March Madness, and from all the latest odds, contests, and player props, BetOnline.net is the number one source for all of your sports betting needs and information. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. So if you want to play blackjack, or if you want to put some money on how many goals Alex Ovechkin is going to score on the Blue Jackets tonight, then BetOnline is the place for you. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to go to betonline.net to learn more about the trends and action because BetOnline is where the game starts. So the Blue Jackets have continued their strong penalty kill play. The power play faltered a little bit. Both teams went 0 for 2 on the power play, so I guess it's a fair trade-off. The penalty kill was good for both teams. The power play was bad for both teams, or maybe one or the other. You never know. Ottawa had 60% of all face-off wins, which is worrying, and I do wonder how much of that is because the Blue Jackets are missing Boone Jenner, and Boone Jenner is the only person on this team that apparently knows how to take a face-off. Justin Danforth was positive on his face-offs. He had 54.5% of his face-offs. I don't know how many face-off wins that is. Hilariously, Patrick Laine had 100% face-off percentage. I guess he took one and won it. But Corrali and Sillinger were both down in the 30%. Jack Roslovic broke even, which is pretty good for him. I'll take it, but I think that's something the Blue Jackets are really going to struggle with Boone Jenner being gone. The power play, I think, also is probably going to struggle a little bit with Boone Jenner being gone. Who else is going to stand in front of the net and bounce pucks in and kind of by accident, you know? It's some good news. Obviously, Boone Jenner is probably going to be out maybe till the end of the season. I hope not, because he was having such a good season, and that's going to be such a shame. But Jake Voracek was back after missing a game after the attempted murder by Marcus Foligno, which I guess seems a little melodramatic, but he is back. He seems to be a-okay. And Patrick Laine, again, 2 primary assists, or 1 primary assist, 1 regular assist. Seems to suggest that he's feeling okay after he left the ice against Minnesota as well. We weren't sure what his status was, but he seems like he's good to go, better than ever. And at some point, we're going to have to talk about how this is not just a hot streak for him anymore. I think this might just be what we have with Patrick Laine, which I'm pretty okay with, honestly. And then the other returnee, Justin Danforth, returned. He hurt his knee last week, I believe, or he might have blocked a shot. Actually, I think he made a return and he had a pretty good game. Like I say, he was the only center that was above 50% in faceoffs, so that's always a good thing. If at least one guy is, you still don't want it to be your fourth line center, but it is what it is. It's good to see him back. He's kind of been filling in that Texier role on the fourth line of just kind of skating around, adding a little bit of snarl, adding some energy. He's fitting in super well. For someone who wasn't on my radar at the start of the season, I've been super impressed with Justin Danforth and how he's kind of battled through a handful of injuries and managed to keep hold of his spot on the team each time. So you love to see that. Adam Boquist is almost ready to go, I believe. I don't think we'll see him tonight. Uh, the Blue Jackets are playing Washington, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It looks like it's probably going to be mostly the same lineup. So Carlson in for Bayreuther, which I didn't hate. And we'll see what goalie start. I would imagine Corpusalo. So again, we'll see how that goes. I don't remember who was in net the last time these two teams played, but it was that weird, wild game where they scored a game winner with like a minute left, and the Capitals were real mad about it. It was 5-4. Boone scored with 45 seconds left, and I loved it. The Capitals were real mad about it. They're going to want to get some revenge, probably, which I'm, again, not thrilled about, but we'll see. And that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. We're going to look at the Capitals, who have kind of been sliding a little bit recently, but seem to have picked it back up. So we're going to talk a little bit about them and what the plan for tonight's game is. That's what's coming up next on Locked On Blue Jackets. Okay, so let's talk Washington Capitals. I mean, we probably should. I don't want to, but the rules say that we have to play them, so we should probably talk about them, even though the rules don't say that. Players to watch, obviously, Alex Ovechkin. He's got 4 goals in his last 5 games. Evgeny Kuznetsov has got 8 points in his last 5 games. John Carlson has 5 assists in his last 5 games. Obviously, Nick Backstrom is going to be a threat whenever Alex Ovechkin is on the ice. Tom Wilson, I believe, is continuing his career year of scoring goals and maiming people. So if we can get out of the game without him seriously injuring someone, then I will be pretty happy with that. What they've been struggling with recently is goaltending. There's still some mutters about who they're actually going to go with in the playoffs. I don't think it's a done deal that they make the playoffs yet, but it's looking more and more likely that they're going to get that second wild card spot and have to duke it out with Carolina probably at this point. So it could be Samsonov or Vanacek, but they've both kind of been on a little bit of a downward trend at the minute. I'm not sure which one the Blue Jackets are going to face tonight. Hopefully it's Samsonov, just because Vitek Vanacek's numbers are better. And I think the Capitals are kind of at that point still where they underestimate the Blue Jackets and they think they can start their lesser, quote unquote, lesser goalie to give their starter a rest. I don't actually know if the Capitals played last night. The Capitals did not play last night. Obviously, they play tonight, and they play Carolina tomorrow. So, yeah, I would imagine Vanacek is going to go against Carolina, and Samsonov is going to go versus the Blue Jackets, which, again, super not mad about it. In other news, they have the Blue Jackets beat in basically every category. Their power play is better, but only just. Their penalty kill is better, but only just. The Blue Jackets have them beat in faceoffs. The Capitals are one of the worst faceoff teams in the league, which is extremely surprising. The Blue Jackets score more goals per game than them, but by literally 0.01 goal per game. So that could be interesting. And the Capitals allow almost a full goal per game less than the Blue Jackets. So, if you look at the stats, we're looking at maybe a 3-2 win for the Capitals, but it could get wild. It could get weird. Like the last time these two teams played, it got super wild and super weird. I'm not thrilled by the prospect of having to play the Washington Capitals on the second night of a back-to-back, especially when you look at the playoff race. The Washington Capitals are currently still 11 points ahead of the Blue Jackets. They're both at 61 games played, so both teams have, I think, 21 games left in the season, if my math is correct. So that's a possible 42 points. So it's still doable. It's not like super like, hey, so you're saying there's a chance? Like it is definitely doable. This could be a really interesting game to see how that goes. Like I said, Washington had been kind of on a bit of a downward trend. It got a little dicey for them. They seem to have picked it back up recently, but they lost 3 games in a row against New York, Philadelphia, Toronto, and then they are currently on a little 2-game winning streak. They had a 3-game win streak and then an overtime loss to Edmonton, and then they beat Vancouver and New York most recently. So they are, I would say, average. This is not the Washington Capitals team of years past that, have come into Nationwide and just ruined everything. So I think the Blue Jackets are they're in with a chance. Definitely. There's not anything about this game that, for all my melodrama earlier, there is not anything about this game that makes me think, oh God, we're going to get murdered. The Blue Jackets are just going to get absolutely curb stomped by the Washington Capitals. I would not be surprised if Alex Ovechkin does Alex Ovechkin things. But mostly, I think what I would like for this game is for the Blue Jackets to maybe do less crime and play maybe a little bit of a tighter game. If they can play the Mm. If they can play the same game out of, if they can play the same game that they played against Ottawa, then they could be in for a surprise. However, it's can they play the same game against Ottawa? They're very different teams. So I'm looking for Patrick Laine to have a big game. I would be looking for Boone Jenner to have a good game, but that's not going to happen. Last time these two teams played, the goals came from Patrick Laine, Adam Boquist, Patrick Laine. Trey Fix-Wolansky scored his first NHL goal, and Boone Jenner scored. So of those goal scorers, Patrick Laine is the only one in the lineup tonight. So I will expect to see him. If you could get a power play goal, that would be neat. But no Boquist, no Fix-Wolansky, no Jenner. So it will have to rest on some other guys. It'd be nice to see Oliver Bjorkstrand get one. He had a nice little streak running for a minute there, right up until the New York Islanders game happened. But the Blue Jackets are riding a 3-game win streak. So if they could make it 4, that would be great. They're playing St. Louis on Saturday, which we're going to talk about a little bit tomorrow. The last time they played St. Louis, it did not go great. So hopefully they can take this big 2 points tonight against Washington, take that confidence into the weekend, play St. Louis, and then they're done playing St. Louis for the rest of the season. So that's always good for me anyway. I hate it when they have to play St. Louis because it feels like we always get curb stomped. So the less we have to play them, the better. And I think that's all I've got for today. Tomorrow, like I said, we're going to recap tonight's game, and we are going to look ahead to the St. Louis game on Saturday or Sunday, I believe the game is. It's an afternoon game, which is exciting for me because it starts at a big 9 p.m. So we'll do a preview of that. I've been Jerry Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see down here there is a little box with my username in, so you can spell it properly because my name is a nightmare. And you can find show over at LO_Blue Jackets. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, we are now on YouTube. Thank you for making this your first listen or your first watch of the day. And I appreciate you. So until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.